In this video, I'm going to show you how to bleed the brakes on this Toyota Camry. If you need any parts for your car, check us out at oneauto.com. Let's get started.
Under the hood, towards the driver's side, you'll find your brake master cylinder reservoir. It's that white one with the black cap. Let's grab some .3 brake fluid. First, take a rag and wipe off any debris that's around it so that when you open the cap, none of it gets inside the master cylinder reservoir. Then pop the cap off, and on these there's a little screen in there that you might want to remove if you are extracting any of the fluid, which I am. When I do a full brake bleed, I like to start with new fluid, and these are often very tricky to get. Okay, take this little screen out. Now I'm going to use a vacuum pump and remove most of the old fluid that is in the reservoir. Okay, I'd say I've pretty much removed all of it. If you don't have a vacuum pump like this, you could just use a turkey baster or anything else that you have, a fluid transfer pump maybe that is rated for brake fluid, and just remove the old fluid out of the reservoir so we could start fresh. Take this screen, put it back down, make sure it clicks, and then we'll top this off with .3 brake fluid. Got a little bit left in there. And fill this up all the way to the max line, which is actually right about here, which actually I am a little bit over, but I'm not worried about it because the first thing we're going to do here is bleed more fluid out. So I'm going to put that cap back on just so debris doesn't get in there. And now let's take the wheels off and do a brake bleed. You could do this one wheel at a time, or you could jack up the whole vehicle, take all the wheels off, and just do them all. Here's the sequence for this brake bleed. We're going to start with the right rear wheel, that is the passenger side rear. Then we're going to actually move to the driver's side front, which is the left front right here. Then we're going to the left rear, driver's rear, and then the passenger side front, also known as the right front wheel. And that should complete our brake bleed. In between every caliper, I will top off the master cylinder. You do not want to run that dry. So I'm going to get an assistant now to pump up the brakes for me, and then we'll get set up to bleed the brakes. So this is our first wheel, the right rear wheel. I'm going to take this bleeder screw, cover off, and my assistant is in the driver's seat. Go ahead and pump up the brakes. I'm going to put my 8mm wrench on, and then I have this collection receptacle with a hose on it so that it doesn't make a mess everywhere. I'm going to open the bleeder screw and let that pedal go all the way to the floor. Fluid, as you can see in this hose, it's clear so you can see all the air bubbles. Fluid and air is coming out. Now that the pedal's all the way to the floor, I'm going to snug it up. Go ahead and pump again. And we're just going to repeat this process until clear. Okay, we're going to repeat this process until clear, clean fluid is coming out of this caliper. This is the furthest away from the master cylinder. Go ahead and pump again. So this could take several cycles to actually get it through. Okay, I'm going to crack it open again. Go ahead and pump again. Okay, I don't have any more air, but I will do this a couple more times to make sure fresh fluid is making its way through. Pump up again. All right. I like this. Let's do this one last time. Go ahead and pump. Yep, that's looking good. So I'm going to close this off. You can let go of the brakes now. I'm going to pull this hose off, let it drain into this receptacle. And of course, I'm going to clean off any mess that happened here. I don't want to confuse any residual for a potential leak. Wipe it off, use brake parts cleaner. Okay. Once this dries, go ahead and cap this off. Hopefully you still have your bleeder screw cap. It just prevents it from clogging up. And let's move to the next wheel, which is going to be the left front, that being the driver's side front wheel. All right, here we are at the front driver's side wheel. I topped off the master cylinder. I'm going to pop this little boot off of here, put on my wrench, and then my hose. Now you can go ahead and pump up the brakes. Let's crack this bleeder screw open. This is also an 8mm, by the way. All right, there we go. A couple air bubbles here. Go ahead and pump up again. Let that pedal reach the floor and close it off, pump up again. This is very close to the master cylinder, so it might not take as many cycles to get clean fluid through. Oh, a couple air bubbles. Let's do this again, pump it up. I like that, that was nice and clean. Let's do this a couple more times just to be sure. Pump it up. All right, let's do this one last time. Pump it up. Perfect. All right, you can let go of the brakes. This is a nice steady flow of fluid. It's clean. So let's clean this off and move on to the next one. Spray it down if needed. Cap it off. Let's top off that master cylinder and move along. We are now at the left rear wheel. That's the driver's side rear, so I'm going to pop this bleeder screw cap off. I'm going to get my wrench on this and my hose for the little collection bucket here. And now I'm going to have my assistant pump up the brakes. Go ahead and pump. All right, release pressure from the bleeder screw. Once that pedal reaches the floor, go ahead and close it off and pump up again. All right, let's do it one more time. Okay. I got no air out of this one. Let's do this one last time just to get some clean fluid all the way through. Pump it up again. All right, I like that. Nice and clean, no air bubbles, so we can close this off. You can let go of the brakes now. I'll pull off my hose and my wrench, clean any drippage, make sure it's nice and dry, and hopefully you still have this boot to cover up the bleeder screw. Let's move on to our last wheel, which is the right front wheel. Here we go on the last one. I topped off the master cylinder. Let's pop off this bleeder screw cap. And once again, set up my 8mm wrench and my collection hose. Go ahead and pump up the brakes. Okay, crack this free. All right, once that pedal reaches the floor, close it off, pump up again. Okay, we got a couple air bubbles out of this one. Close it off, pump up again. All right, no air bubbles, and I am starting to see cleaner fluid. So let's do this 2 more times. Pump it up again. That's nice. Let's do it one last time just to be sure. Pump it up again. All right, that's perfect. I'm going to close this off. You can let go of the brakes now. Clean all this up. There really wasn't much fluid that leaked here at all, but I'm still going to spray it down just so I don't confuse it for a leak. And put this boot back on to cover up the bleeder screw and protect it. There we go. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was helpful. If you have anything to say, leave it in the comments section below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you can stay up to date with all of our latest content. Thanks for watching.